Mellow, welcome to You Don't Make My Mistake. This is a place where I share the life lessons most people only learn when it's already too late. My name is Walter Hayes. I'm 80 years old, and I'm speaking to you from a quiet little house in Savannah, Georgia, USA. I'm not a celebrity. I'm not rich or famous. I'm just a man who lived long enough to realize how badly he lived. And today, I want to tell you one mistake that cost me everything. So please sit with me for a moment and don't make my mistake. You know what hurts more than being alone? Being forgotten. Not ignored. Not hated. Forgotten. And on my 80th birthday, that's exactly what happened to me. But listen closely. The reason nobody came to my birthday is not what you think. It wasn't traffic. It wasn't work. It wasn't distance. It was something far more painful. I sat there staring at that little cake on the table. One candle. No voices. And suddenly, my mind went back 50 years to a woman named Emily, the only person who ever truly loved me. I didn't lose her in one big fight. I lost her in silence. Not with screaming, not with doors slamming, but with missed good mornings. And unanswered, how was her day? Ooh, she was still sitting right next to me. But emotionally, she had already left. That's the scary part. Love doesn't always end loudly. Sometimes it dies. Quietly, slowly, invisibly. And by the time you notice, she's already gone. One day, I came home late again, suit wrinkled, phone still buzzing, mind still chasing the next deal. Emily was sitting at the kitchen table, dinner cold, candle burned all the way down. She looked up and said, "Did you even notice I wasn't talking anymore?" That question still echoes in my chest. Because she was right. I'd stopped noticing her silence. I'd stopped noticing her. I thought love was something that just stayed, that you didn't have to protect it, that it would wait. But love doesn't disappear in a day. It fades when it feels unseen, unheard, unimportant. And that night, I realized something terrifying. I wasn't losing my wife. I had already lost her. And I was the one who let it happen. One night, I came home late, suit wrinkled, phone buzzing, head full of deals, the house too quiet. Emily was at the kitchen table, dinner cold, candle burned down to the last drip. She looked at me and said, "Did you even notice?" I stopped talking. I froze, because she was right. I hadn't noticed her silence. I hadn't noticed her. I thought love just waited, that it would survive anything. But love doesn't vanish in a day. It slips away in the little things. The good mornings you ignore, the smiles you don't return, the moments you think don't matter. And that night, I realized something terrifying. I wasn't about to lose her. I had already lost her. But how? And why didn't I see it sooner? And I laughed. Yeah, God help me. I laughed. Not because it was funny, but because I didn't understand how serious it was. I thought she meant I wasn't listening. Like I missed a sentence. Like I was distracted. But no, she meant something much worse. She meant I wasn't there. Not in the room. Not in her heart. Not in our marriage. She had been talking to a ghost, a man who showed up in body, but never in soul. And the scariest part, I didn't even notice I was gone. While she was slowly giving up, I was still smiling, still chasing money, still thinking everything was fine. But love doesn't leave all at once. It leaves when it gets tired of begging to be seen. And by the time I realized what she meant, she had already stopped trying. That's how I lost her. Not with a fight, but with my absence. That's how love dies in America. Not with cheating, not with screaming, not with slam doors, but with, "Later, I'm busy. Can we talk tomorrow?" It dies in living rooms with the TV on, in kitchens where nobody looks up, in bedrooms where two people sleep, but don't touch. Love doesn't collapse in one big moment. It bleeds out quietly through missed dinners, ignored texts, and conversations that never happen. And here's the part no one warns you about. By the time you realize something is wrong, the other person has already been grieving the relationship alone. They don't leave suddenly, they leave emotionally first. That's why when they finally walk out the door, it feels sudden to you. But to them, it's been a long goodbye. And then, there are my kids. That's where the real pain lives. Because children don't leave you, they just stop trying. They stop showing you their drawings. They stop running to the door when you come home. They stop asking if you can play, because they already know the answer. I used to think they didn't notice, that they were too young, too busy, too innocent. But kids notice everything. They notice when your phone matters more than their story, when work comes before their smile, when later becomes their favorite word, and one day you look up and your own child doesn't reach for you anymore. Not because they don't love you, but because they learned it hurts less not to hope. That realization, it breaks something inside you that never fully heals. One day my daughter called me, crying from Atlanta. Her voice was shaking, breathing broken, the kind of cry that means something is really wrong. And I said, "Sweetheart, can we talk later?" She went quiet, not angry, not loud, just quiet. That was the last time she ever called me to cry. Not once after that. Not when she was scared. Not when she was hurting. Not even when her heart was breaking. Because in that moment, she learned something painful. That her tears were an inconvenience. That her pain could wait. That her father was too busy. Kids don't argue when you hurt them. They adjust. They close their hearts. They stop reaching. They stop trusting. And by the time you realize what you did, you're no longer the person they run to. You're just the person they stop calling. I didn't hear her heart break, but it did. Not with a scream, not with a cry, just a quiet crack inside her chest. And I kept talking, kept working, kept scrolling, while somewhere on the other end of the phone, my daughter was falling apart alone. That's the cruelest part about neglect. It doesn't make noise. It destroys people in silence, and the ones who cause it never even realize it's happening. By the time I finally looked up, her heart was already in pieces, and I didn't even notice. So why did no one show up to my birthday here in Savannah? It wasn't because they hated me. No, that would have hurt less. It was because they had already said goodbye. Years ago. Goodbye to the man who was never there. Goodbye to the father who always said later. Goodbye to someone who felt like a stranger, even in his own home. That's what silence really means, not anger, but acceptance. And once people accept that you won't change, they stop waiting. I was alone at 80 because I was absent at 40. That's the kind of math they never teach you in school. You don't fail it all at once. You fail at one missed call at a time, one later at a time, one "I'm busy" at a time. And one night, sitting in a quiet house in Savannah, I finally understood. So I picked up my phone, hands shaking, heart pounding like it was about to confess a crime. And I typed, "I'm sorry. This is your dad, Walter." I stared at that screen like it could save me. No reply. No typing bubble. No blue check. Just silence. And that silence, it screamed louder than any argument we ever had. Because when someone stops fighting with you, that's not peace. That's goodbye. I used to think losing my family would come with a fight, with yelling, with slammed doors. But no, it came with nothing. With empty rooms, with unanswered messages, with birthdays no one shows up to. And that's when it hit me. I didn't lose them when they walked away. I lost them when I stopped showing up. So if someone you love is still calling, still texting, still waiting, don't make my mistake. Because one day, they won't anymore. I didn't lose her in one fight. I lost her in silence. Slowly, quietly, and I didn't even notice. Every morning, Emily made coffee in our Savannah kitchen. She waited for me. And every morning, I walked right past her. Not because I didn't love her, but because I was too busy chasing money, titles, applause. That hurts to say out loud. And then there were my kids. That's where the real pain lives. Because children don't leave you. They just stop trying. They stop running to the door. They stop showing you their drawings. And one day, you look up and they don't reach for you anymore. One night, my daughter called me crying from Atlanta. And I said, "Sweetheart, can we talk later?" She never called me crying again. Not once. That's when it hit me. I was alone at 80 because I was absent at 40. And no message, no apology could bring them back. That silence. It's louder than any argument we ever had. Silence means someone has already moved on and you're too late. Most people don't die in accidents. They die unnoticed, slowly, while life passes them by. So if you still have people in your life, please, call them, go see them, be there. Because the day they stop trying, it's already too late. And that is the most painful lesson of all. Money won't sit beside you at night. Success won't hold your hand when the room goes quiet. Fame won't look you in the eyes and ask if you're okay. Only people will, and I traded them all away. That night, in my silent little house in Savannah, I checked my phone one last time. No messages, no missed calls, no one. So I whispered into the dark, "I'm sorry, Emily, I'm sorry, my kids." And if this story scared you, good, because fear means you still have time. Time to call someone, time to show up, time to love before it's too late. I didn't. Before you, gal, take a second. Look at your phone. Look at your contacts. Look at the names you haven't called in a while. Because one day, those names will be all you have left. If this story touched you, if it made you think, if it made you feel even a little uncomfortable, that means it was meant for you. This channel, You Don't Make My Mistake, exists so you don't have to learn life's hardest lessons the way I did, alone and too late. So if you're still here, please subscribe. Not for me, for the future version of you who will be grateful you listened today. And before you leave, tell me in the comments, backhand index pointing right, who is one person you're going to call after this video ends. I'll be here. And until next time, don't make my mistake. Broken heart.